South Carolina Gamecocks.
I'm still
SEC
not
opener.
positioned. There.
Yeah,
How about that?
You know,
There.
it's been an interesting week for me. It's all about details, Dave Baker. And let's try this again. Hello, everybody. Brian Miles.
Hi, everybody.
But it's a football
You're
Friday
locked in,
night,
right?
which I'm not sure we're going to have as much football for game time as I had hoped because allegedly Mother Nature is wanting to go out on a
Brack,
date
do you
again
have
Friday.
the update stinger music up there that you could play so we can something like that, right? Just any sort of music. Can get an update from Ben Beddoes.
But Saturday for UK Carolina, it's going to be a 180-degree difference from a week ago when we had to wait 2 hours and change, 2 hours and about 20 minutes. And the game started at about 10:05 and then was halted at 11:47. So the delay much longer than the game, which really felt like a preseason high school scrimmage in a lot of ways because you had the stoppages, 10-minute halftime, quick water break, get back out there. But a win's a win, 31-0.
You guys had it easy, though, right? I mean,
who's you guys?
I mean, everybody that was there. I mean, you're covering the thing. Like, I had two games when we were doing ESPN stuff. One was Texas A&M and Lamar. Ooh. And it was one of the first games on the SEC network, and it was on the secondary channel. And there was no studio support. We filled for an hour and a half, Greg McElroy and I. That's exactly right. And then one time in the JP days, we had a big lightning storm down at LSU, and the hat actually let us into the locker room with the camera and everything. Yeah, it was not for protection, but I mean, we're just filling time because we got no studio support.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, and we'll just quickly recap the lightning protocol. There is basically a dot at the 50-yard line with an 8-mile radius around the stadium. Anything inside that 8-mile window, I'm calling it the M&M rule. It's 8 mile. Come on, the rapper, the movie.
Did he sing something like called 8 Mile?
Oh boy. Okay, back to live action.
Did he cover any Charlie Pride songs?
Probably not, but he did Kiss an Angel Good Morning.
There you go.
And if lightning hits in that circle, and you may not see it. It may be literally 7.5 miles from the stadium.
But if it's in the 8 mile circumference.
Because lightning can travel distances we really have no idea about. But that's why it took so long, and a lot of people were mad because they had to wait outside. Then they had to wait inside. Then they cleared the stadium, and all kinds of stuff. But it's all about safety, and safety does come first because if you didn't, you wouldn't have a football game, and there'd be a lot of lawsuits and things in between.
And for people that watch the game on television, talk to my guy Rob Brickley.
That was rough too.
Okay, so here's the deal. My guy Rob Brickley, who's our executive producer at Raycom Sports and a longtime friend of mine. So I asked him because Tom Hart said during the game, a lot of people noticed the wide shot. That's what we in the business call the all 22, where you can see all 22 players in the same shot. And so they just had to put it on a wide shot, and I think they were using that camera robotically because ESPN apparently has even more stringent rules than does the SEC, which I don't understand, about if lightning is here or there or wherever. They can't get up in their camera positions. No. And so Tom said that on the air, and then I found out that is exactly true, and it's happened several other times before, and everybody's got to make their own decision about what they do and everything. But yeah, but I will say this, for those of us that were around during the Hal Mummy John L. Smith Louisville game, Kentucky is killing LSU over at the Big Slice. And there comes a lightning delay at halftime.
The third quarter.
Third quarter, that's what it was, shortly after halftime. Yeah. So Hal comes out there and he's talking to everybody and he's got that white towel slung over his shoulder and everything. And John L. goes back inside their building and they start looking at tape. And they came back out and they just dominated. But I thought especially for the first game, especially for a lot of younger guys playing, I thought Mark Stoops and his guys did a nice job of making sure they weren't too uptight, but yet they were ready.
Remind me to finish our segment with a story pertaining to UK U of L 2000, the tsunami game as I call it.
Yes.
It was one for the books. Okay. Now, let's talk football for a second because last week was the first time we got to see Brock Vandagriff. And what I liked about it, first off, he ran the football.
Yes, he did.
What did you think about him daring to use the feet first.
Well, here's the thing. The guy is obviously, and this is no slight or anything, but he's a tough old country boy.
Yeah, he is.
And his dad, we've had the privilege of meeting him. What a great guy.
Yeah.
But he's a tough old country boy, too.
Great defensive coordinator.
Ain't no
They're
question.
different than offensive coordinators.
Now, I don't know what Brock's 40 time is going to be, but he is, like Will Levis, he is not afraid to take it up the middle like there. He's not afraid to put his shoulder down and get the extra yard. He cannot take hits like that, though. But what he did was he opened up holes that the Cats were not able to get positive yards from the quarterback position a year ago.
I thought he did a good job of delivering the football.
He did.
There were a couple of passes. Yeah, somebody from catching behind, but these are catchable passes in front to allow momentum to carry you for extra yardage.
There are people that may have a bigger arm, but we haven't seen him just unleash it yet. But you described it perfectly. It's a ball that's very accurate, like this, and very catchable, right in the breadbasket.
And 12 of 18 passing for 169 yards. Had 3 touchdowns. And I brought out the stat earlier this week, which was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
As his entire 2023 with Georgia, Brock Vandegrift was 12 of 18 for 165 or 68 yards with 2 touchdowns. He surpassed everything in one game that he had done the year before, and that was a shortened game.
That's right.
With 9:56
just over
left
3
in the
quarters,
third, they stopped it. Well, I thought Brock did well. I thought offensively, it's going to take you maybe a possession to get going. They had to take a timeout early. But no, there were no pre-snap penalties. There was none of that. It was pretty clean, as Mark Stoops talked about.
And I'm going to say one other thing that, we obviously didn't chart it, but it seemed like, certainly as we were looking at those highlights and through the preponderance of the game, most of his throws were on the run.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't sitting back there like Peyton Manning in the protected pocket. I mean, he was throwing going to his right, going to his left, off one foot. He was making some difficult throws, not look very difficult at all.
And last year we saw, how many balls did we see batted down at the line of scrimmage? A lot. And that was one of the questions last year asked of a lot of the UK players. And nothing against Devin Leary, but you are the height you are. Doug Flutie, hey, he had to move out of the pocket to get a clear line of sight. Nothing wrong with that. Fran Tarkenton, my guy, Minnesota Vikings. And you got to be able to move. Well, Devin didn't do a lot of that. Brock showed he could get out, he could get this way, he can still stay behind the line of scrimmage and buy time. So that was I thought he did a very good job in week 1. I thought the defense held Southern Miss to 5 net yards rushing.
Right.
I mean, they were in the backfield early in the game, and other than 2 plays, Southern Miss did nothing.
There's no question. And they did what they were supposed to do against an opponent they were supposed to do it against. But now the deal gets a lot more serious.
Sure.
Not as serious this week as it is next week, but still serious. And I hope that Deion Walker goes out there and plays like a man possessed, because we haven't gotten into it yet. So I might as well get us into it. I mean, there's a little something in this rivalry.
Oh, sure.
Thanks to the dancing Gamecock coach. And I hope people, if you're out there in the Twitterverse or whatever, send that to every player you know. I mean, I hope they see that until they get sick of looking at it. And we'll see if there's any dancing on the way back to the bus tomorrow.
It was that game last week. UK Southern Miss had a couple of times to score, and I think if you asked them, they would say we may have left 14 points out there on the field. That interception in the end zone being one of the potential scores at pick 6 that the kid hit him right in the hands, and he had Nicholasville in front of him. He could have run all day.
I mean, I'm a little surprised here. I mean, you were a heck of an athlete when you played, and you're still a heck of an athlete. You played college baseball. Don't give me that stuff. But you and I have similar.
60 times a lot slower.
You and I have similar approaches to the game. And it would be fair to say that we both have a quick twitch.
Yeah.
When something that
I've had it today, and 3 or 4 times.
And so I just lobbed this whole Shane Beamer thing up to you.
No.
And it's like you had the take sign.
3-0, 85 and flat take. No, I'm in a mood today to unload on Shane Beamer or any other
people that
or any other coach that makes fun. And then the first thing he says, I have a lot of respect. Why do coaches always say, I have a lot of respect for the other coach, personally and professionally? When you hear coordinators talk, oh man, they're just so well coached. No, they're not. Not every team is so well coached. I have seen football at the high school level, college, pro, and you look at some of these guys and go, I can't believe we're losing to this team.
Typically, what would happen, and Steve Spurrier was the master.
I'm not getting on Beamer. I'm just saying, it's not just him.
But he deserves to be gotten on. I mean, that's just like playground garbage. I mean, he's talking about people wearing sunglasses and dancing, and then he puts his head on backwards and starts doing this stuff. I mean, get out there between the lines.
I remember, there was a basketball coach about 70 miles down the road that used to get onto a dancing coach around here and said, hey, Kenny Payne, where's Kenny Payne?
I mean, I still remember that. So I don't forget that stuff. And I don't think anybody should forget it either. I think the people that are down there close behind the Gamecock bench tomorrow, they should remember that.
We will see if Carolina gets cocky or not. We'll find out tomorrow. One last thing to talk about.
Wow, you did that, didn't you?
You're welcome. One last thing to go over from last week's game.
Yes.
No Chip Trainum. We have not heard about his availability for Saturday.
Even though he is on the official injury report.
Yes.
Is being out.
But the UK run game last week, besides Brock Vandegrift running the football, it came in pretty handy. Demi Sumo Kangbe, as I'm just going to start calling him Demi DSK. It's a lot easier. But
I like that.
You're welcome. But I mean, he really opened it up a little bit. The other rookies did as well, and UK had a good ground game last
and
week.
Give him credit, but look at these highlights and look how far these guys are going before the first tackler is getting to him. That offensive line, I know it was a point of emphasis. I know Wolford, is it Wolford, the offensive line coach, is back. You know, and and that thing was really a lot more personal than a lot of people let on, because he and Stoops were boys from back in Youngstown.
Getting into this. Getting into your feels today.
I'm just telling you. I mean, it's part of it, you know. But they were Youngstown guys, and he went with Saban and then came back, and I thought they were a lot better last week.
I think they settled it Youngstown style.
Again, the talent isn't what you'll get the next couple of weeks.
Right.
But I mean, in Kentucky, I haven't looked today. Weren't they like an 8.5-point favorite?
I saw, of course, you have several books, so take your book of choice. But I
Westgate is the official.
I was just scanning through.
At least that's what Beddoes tells me.
And I saw a 10-point dog for Carolina, and I thought that's a lot of points in the SEC. But I think you have to go back and look last week and say, you beat Old Dominion 23-19 and struggled to do that.
Come on, now.
I'm just saying.
You can't sleep on the Monarchs. I mean, that's
you can't.
I respect the Monarchs personally and professionally.
ODU.
Nancy Lieberman.
Klein.
And how about that?
What?
They had her do a WNBA game last week because Cheryl Swoops just wanted to keep hating on
He
Caitlin
is the
Clark.
straw that is stirring the drink.
No. I'm just pointing out that the drink has been stirred.
Well, you're stirring it. He is shaken, not stirred.
Thank you.
We're going to get out of here.
Hold it. You were going to tell a story at the end.
But before this story.
Yes.
Bobby Keith, the great Clay County High School basketball coach, 767 wins, 125 losses, state title in 87.
And one of Eastern Kentucky's, if not one of, the best clothier for gentlemen.
And that's where we're going with this story.
Is it really?
And he didn't even know it.
I did not know that.
Quick story. Bobby Keith he was Dobson and Keith in Manchester.
That's right.
I worked in Hazard at the time. A week before the UK U of L game of 2000, he said, "Son, come see me at the store." So I go and see him. He gives me Tommy Hilfiger ties and shirts and pants, and he goes, "Give him 75% off."
75?
Yes, and I mean, this is high-end stuff.
Let's go.
Now let's move ahead a week.
Yes.
To the UK U of L game. It starts to rain. I've got on my brand new Dobson and Keith pants, my brand new blue shirt.
Oh, no.
and I am caught on the other end of Papa John's Cardinal Stadium away from the statue and shelter.
Yes, I got you. Yes.
John Lewis and I were 100.
The open end of the stadium.
We were
at that time.
150 yards from shelter when it hit.
Did you beat him?
I don't know.
I think you did.
But we go inside for about, an hour and change?
It was.
Well, you start to warm up, and then you go back outside. My blue shirt that was brand new.
No, it didn't. I thought you were going to tell me.
It comes mid-forearm. It shrunk so much. Now, I want, for those of you, get on YouTube and look for UK U of L football 2000. Scroll to the end of regulation when UK has a chance to win it.
Yes.
Look right between the pipes.
And you're there?
And I'm there, and you can see that blue shirt has gone mid-forearm, and the pants had yet to shrink, but they shrunk by the next morning. Just saying.
That's like the last time the U of L had the whiteout and Patino had that suit on.
Yeah.
And
Change at halftime.
And he had to change at halftime because you could see the undies.
I go back to Dobson and Keith a couple of weeks later, and Coach Keith says, "Well, son, how's the clothes fitting you?" And I said, "Well, Coach, they shrunk on me in the rain." He goes, "Well, I gave you 75%." I thought that's the great.
Oh, that's Bobby Keith. That is awesome.
Folks, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for listening to us. Gab with you a little bit, and hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next Friday night.